Everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody falls in love somehow. Something in your kiss just told me my sometime is now. Everybody finds somebody someplace. There's no telling where love may appear. Something in my heart keeps saying,
Thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. Hello everyone, welcome back to a winter/Christmas reading vlog. And I'm not necessarily reading a Christmas book at the moment. I'm only reading winter books. But you know what? Winter is finally here and Christmas is just around the corner, so I thought why not add the Christmas in this video as well. I just love Christmas. I love Christmas more than my own birthday, which is something. But I'm so excited to share this video. I am also planning on giving some book recommendations in this video. So I'm going to start the video off very strongly by sharing with you all the books that I want to read this week. I don't have a kind of TBR for this month because I want to take it very loosely. So here are the books. First we have over here is The Willows in Winter by William Horwood. This is the sequel to The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, just by a different author. And this book is fantastic. It's such a cozy book. So we're following the same characters that were in the Wind in the Willows book. We have Mole, Ratty, Badger, and Toad, and of course they go on an adventure in this one as well. But this book is set in winter, as compared to the Wind in the Willows. That book is set in several seasons, but this one is just in winter, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to read this in December. It's a winter book, and this is going to be such a fantastic read. And then we have over here is Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I've already read this book before, but the reason I borrowed this book from the library because I wanted to reread it for the book club that I've joined recently. I've joined a book club on Fable. It's an online book club, and they're reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde for December. A bit of a weird pick, but who am I to judge, honestly? But I'm really excited to read this book. I remember when I read it for the first time, I read it just one sitting, so it didn't took me that much long to read it. I haven't started this yet, but I am going to today because today is 1st December. This is how long the story is. As you can see, it's a really short story, so I can go through this easily. It's not going to take me that much a long time. And I'm also reading a manga, Death Note Volume 8. I recently uploaded a video talking about all the November books, and I said that I was a bit hesitant to read the next volume, but I've decided to go on with it because, like I said, I want to know how the story will end. So that is also I'm going to read this week. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but I actually want to start a longer book this week. And I'm thinking of starting The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Maybe this is not a good idea, because I'm already in the middle of several books, but I think I can do this. I'm not hoping to finish this book this week, but I do want to start this book this week. I've read The Secret History. Where is it? It's here. I read The Secret History by Donna Tartt and it was fantastic. I read it in January and it was really good. A lot of people consider this the OG autumn book, but I also do consider it an I also do consider it an autumn book. But since I read this in winter, I mostly consider this as a winter book, and I feel like the Goldfinch is also going to be a nice wintry book. It's very long, as you can see. Let me just look how long this is. Such a massive book. It's going to take me a while to get through, but I feel like I can do this. Or maybe not. Who knows? We'll see about that. But he couldn't bring himself to say what he would like, which was to be left alone and snug in his cozy home, free to potter through the winter evenings, free to make himself a warming drink, or not as the case might be, but certainly free not to have to think about someone else, free not just for this evening, but for every evening to come. Oh, how distant those days seem when he had been alone in his home and happy. How far off those wonderful days. Oh yes, winter had come into his life now, all right, but it had nothing to do with the snow and sleet that drove against his front door and the draughts that worried at his paws when he went the short distance between the warm fireside of his parlor and to his soft bed. Winter, such matters as mere cold and ice and violent winds and driving snow were as nothing compared to the bitter loss of his privacy since he turned up. I was reading this passage from The Willows in the Winter on page number 8, where Mole is mourning the fact that he is not alone at his home. So his nephew has showed up at his house to stay for the winter, and he's just not happy about it. He wants his privacy back, and I just cannot help but feel like as if it's so relatable because and I cannot help but resonate with this. Like Mole is definitely a comfort creature. As I was thinking that, knowing that, I said, "Stay with me." And he said, "Oh, I wish I could be sure of this, or remember it better. But it flows and ebbs in my mind, and it shifts and swirls like the dark currents of the river itself, coming from who knows where, and going to somewhere else. Yet I'm sure that he replied, they're still there, your friends, and they will be waiting for you, Mole. Your time is not yet, nor theirs." I did something yesterday and I forgot to share it with you because I'm not used to sharing my thoughts on the camera, so it's naturally not the first thing I do when I finish a book. But yesterday I finished reading Death Note manga series, and I'm so happy that I did. The ending of the series was just, I don't know, I'm in such a shock. I don't even know what to say. I was flabbergasted when I finished the series, and I needed time to get my thoughts together. I couldn't even talk to anyone about the series because I myself didn't know what to say. But it was fantastic. So I just honestly want to share my feelings related to the rest of the volumes, and I've already discussed till volume 7. So let's move forward. first we have volume 8, and wow, my goodness, I didn't expect it. I never expected, when I was reading the series, I never expected the epitome of justice, who is Yagame's dad, to ever use the Death Note. He was always against using it as well, because there's this one, there was this one scene in, I think, I don't remember in which volume, but L said that he wanted to use the Death Note for experimental purposes. I don't know. So I remember that Yagame's dad was completely against it. So in this volume, he actually decided that he's going to become the owner of Death Note, and he's going to make a deal with Ryuk so he can get the Shinigami eyes, which was such a crazy plot twist. I was not expecting it. He then went with other team members, and he basically infiltrated Mello's lair and got the Death Note that they handed over earlier in the manga, in this volume. So what happened was they fought, and of course Yagame's dad, since he had the Shinigami eyes, he also came to know about Mello's real name, and he wasn't able to write it down because he didn't wanted to kill Mello. But one thing led to the other, and Yagame's dad was injured heavily, and they took him to the hospital, and he died over there. But one of the most sad things happened at that moment. So this whole death scene, Yagame's dad, when he died, this whole death scene happened in volume 9. So we're shifting towards volume 9, essentially. So what happened is that Yagame's dad had the Shinigami eyes, so he can see the name and the lifespan or the other people's head. So at that time, Light was sitting right in front of him, and he was like, I can see your lifespan and your name, since I have the Shinigami eyes, and I am so happy that my son is not Kira. And oh my goodness, I was just so sad. Yagame's dad died thinking that his son is not Kira, but in actuality he is. And Light is so smart. He did this on purpose. He knew that his dad is going to look at him before he died, and he did that on purpose. He gave up his ownership of the Death Note because he knew that he wanted his dad to believe that he's not Kira. And wow, like, how can people, I don't really know what to say. Anyway, I remember thinking that this kid, Kira, Light, whatever his name is, he doesn't deserve a dad like Mr. Yagame. Mr. Yagame is such a righteous person, and his son is so twisted. He is so psychopathic. He doesn't deserve a dad like that. It was such a heartbreaking scene. So sad. Then we move to volume number 10. So volume number 10 and 11, basically we just are following Near and Light, as Near was just like L, suspecting Light to be Kira, and they were trying to make plans because Near wanted to see Light in real life. They finally decided that we're going to meet each other and their teams at a specific place on a specific date. So they were preparing for that. We were also investigating a lot and preparing also a lot. One of the events that happened in these two volumes, we see that Light's team members, one of them is Aizawa, and I think the other is Mogi. Both of them were suspecting Light. They started suspecting Light after Near told them that maybe Light was considered Kira at the first place because he actually is Kira. So they started suspecting him as well. A lot of things happened. I'm not gonna retell everything, but it was really I was just waiting how this is gonna end. And then of course, volume 12, we see the finale of everything. And oh my goodness, that last part, especially that part when he admits that yes, he is Kira. Oh my goodness, he is such a psychopath. And also the light, the whole time when they actually got to meet each other, he met near and they were all standing, he was trying not to laugh the whole time. It's like, and that in turn was making me laugh, especially his facial expressions were just so ridiculous. He looked hilarious, honestly. And when he revealed that he was Kira, poor Matsuda, he was just broken. He was on his knees and was like, oh my goodness, his world was breaking right in front of him because he believed, the poor guy believed the whole these many years he's always believed that Light was not Kira. But in the end, that is what was revealed by Light himself. And he was the one who shot Light. And I think I don't know, I don't remember where he shot him. I think he shot him at his hand, but he was the one who did that because he was just betrayed. He was remorseful. He was he felt as if Light had been disloyal. But yes, the series ended, and the last part was so amazing. Near and Mello actually worked together in this series. We get to know in the end, as indirectly as possible, Mello kind of helped Near, and the Near was able to finally bring Kira to light. And one more thing I would like to mention is that when Light was going on and on about how it is bringing justice to the people around him by he was basically just trying to justify the murdering, him murdering all these people. He was trying to justify that, and he said that he considered himself God, and he had this major God complex. And after that whole speech, Near just said this one thing, and that you're just a murderer and you're not bringing justice to people. And that death note that you have, that is the worst murdering weapon in the history. That is what he said. And he just hit you with this cold, hard fact that by the end of the day, Light is just a murderer. He is not bringing justice to people. He has no right to kill all those people. And Light questioned himself in the start of the series if he kills all the criminals, does that make him a murderer? But he never really, I would say, asked himself this question again. In fact, he got his way around and just said that he is the god of the new world, whatever that means. And but Near in this part really just hits you with this cold reality that no, Light is just a murderer. Oh, and also, in addition to finishing the series, I also read about 20 pages of The Willows in the Winter. I definitely was really tired after reading the whole of the series in just one day. So I only managed to read 20 pages that day. But otherwise, I really feel like that I had a great reading day yesterday. This is just a random clip of me walking around my university because I've been sitting for 3 hours straight and I needed to walk somewhere. Anyway, I was just so tired today. Probably had to do with the fact that I didn't slept very well the night before, and that is because of these recurrent dreams I've been having. So I don't know what happened, but I've been seeing this dream multiple times throughout the night. So whenever I would sleep, I would see this dream, and then when I would wake up and then go to sleep again, I would see this dream again. So basically, in the dream, I saw Ryuk, the Shinigami, and and then I also saw Nier, who was decorating a Christmas tree for some reasons, and it was such a random dream, and it wasn't scary or anything, but I was just so disturbed because I would get up all the time, and then when I go to sleep again, I would see the same dream again. I don't know what was happening. It was really random, but yeah, it probably had to do with the fact that I read like 5 volumes of the Death Note manga in just one day. Probably shouldn't have done that. I'm thinking of starting this book next because it's a book club pick. So I've recently joined an online book club on Fable, and I've already said this before, but I've actually read this book previously. I read this in the month of February this year, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I read it in one sitting. I remember I was so shocked by the plot twist in this book. I don't know what I was expecting because this is definitely not a new concept in the story. The plot that was in this book, it's not a new concept. We have seen this several times in different sci-fi books and even in kind of like the horror genre, but I just was so surprised. I don't know why, because probably had to do with the fact that I was not expecting uh, the twist to be something like that. So I did really enjoyed it. I read it in just one day. So I don't really know if I'll read this again in just one day because it is very well known that I tend to take a lot of time with the book when I reread it again because I'm just taking it a bit more slower than I did before. I don't know why I do that. So maybe, I don't know. I really do want to read this, but I also want to read The Goldfinch. But I think I should start this one. I have been putting it off for several days now because technically we're supposed to start this book on December 1st, and today is December 4th, so definitely should be starting this book. I'll start it and read it slowly, and maybe alongside it, I can read The Goldfinch as well. Alright, everyone, I finished reading The Willows in the Winter by William Horwood, and I absolutely loved this book. This book was so good. Perfect way to start the winter and Christmas season. I would say very heartwarming and wholesome book. And also, it has wonderful and lovely illustrations. This is this one over here. This is Badger and Toad. Look how small Toad looks over here. He looks like a kid. So I never really told you anything about this book other than that this is kind of like a sequel to the Wind in the Willows book which is by Kenneth Grahame, by the way. I think one of the main reasons why I really love this book is because it's just so cozy, it's heartwarming, and I really love those kind of books, or basically that kind of genre that has like talking animals and there's a woodland setting, and basically all the animals are doing these simple and mundane things, just living their life in such a cozy and wholesome way. I love it so much. A few examples I can give is Wind in the Willows, of course, this book. We have Peter Rabbit, Bramley Hedge, and Winnie the Pooh, Frog and Toad are friends. I think there are others as well. I really cannot remember at the moment, but they're all are so great. And of course, I think we can add Mickey Mouse as well because technically every single one of them is are one of the characters are animals. I think we can add that as well. I think that's one of the reasons why I love this book so much. I know that this genre is mostly targeted towards children, but I think that adults can read it as well and learn the simple things in life because of uh, the hustle around us, we tend to forget the simple things in life, tend to forget how to enjoy those simple things. So I think that these kind of books really reminds us again about those simple things. I don't really know why I liked this book so much, but it's really special. It's This book is really special. It struck a chord within me, and I would highly recommend that you check it out. I live a incredibly busy life. I have work, then I have uni as well. So I'm just always working. So this book really reminds me to slow down a bit, and also the story is amazing. I had a great time following these characters. Okay, so I already mentioned before that uh, all of these characters over here, we have Mole, Ratty, Badger, and Toad. I like Mole, Ratty, and Badger, but Toad is not exactly my favorite. I never liked him when I was reading the Wind in the Willows book. So when I came to know that the story, like half of the story, were following this character, I was just not happy about it. And I wasn't enjoying the story as much as I was when Mole, Ratty, and Badger were the sole, you can say, characters present in the story. But the way Toad was redeemed in this story, the way his redemption worked, it was done very well. Because I remember feeling really bad for that Toad because he just went through so much, and he also felt very sorry. He was remorseful, and he wished he could just, ask for forgiveness from his friends. And that really did soften me a bit towards this character, I think. Also, there's a sequel. Also, there is actually another book in this Tales of the Willows series, apparently. It's called Tales of the Willows. Yes. So, this one was the first one, The Willows in Winter, and there's another one over here. Let me, this is the one, Toad Triumphant. This is like another sequel, I suppose. I don't really know much about this one, but I don't really know if I will read this because I think we're mainly following Toad's character. So I don't know if I will read this book, but I think if I find it like a physical copy, if I find a physical copy, I might read it. And then I ended up finishing Battle at the River by Paul J. Bennett. This is part of the Heir to the Crown series. And this book is a short story which is set in the same world as the Heir to the Crown series, but this is a book that you read before the first one, kind of like a zero point 0.5 book, as you can say. And this is set in the same world as the Heir to the Crown. I'm not that much familiar with the world of this particular series because I have not read the series, but I read this book. And I came to know about this book when I was when I discovered Paul J. Bennett's YouTube channel where he discusses all about his books, the writing process, what world these books are set in. He had written a lot of books. So he talks about those books on that YouTube channel. And I also got a free ebook from that same channel. If you want to know more about it, then I think you can uh, go and check out Paul J. Bennett's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description, so you can just click on that and uh, get to know more about these books. An enemy commander, a skilled tactician. Only one can be victorious. The Norland Raiders are at it again. When the Baron of Baden splits their defensive forces, Sergeant Gerald Matheson thinks that today is the day like any other. But then something is different. At the last moment, Gerald recognizes the warning signs, but they are outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and out of luck. How can they win this unbeatable battle? Battle of the River is a standalone short story set in the world of Marcia that incorporates characters from the Heir to the Crown series. I really enjoyed the book. I read it in only like a couple of hours, and I think it's perfect for winter as well because this book is set during winter. Although I think that the first book in the series, which is A Servant to the Crown, I think that's what the book name is, and that book I think is set during summer. Yeah, that one is set during summer because the ebook that I read, it it had like the first chapter of the first book, and it started off with being really hot and it was summer. So I think that the series is set in a different season altogether, but the short story is set during winter, so I think it was pretty cool to read. And I just kept on thinking because in the story, we had these knights who go out and battle all the raiders, and they were wearing these armors, and I could not help but think that whether these knights were cold or not, because armors are definitely going to get cold as well because it was below freezing temperature, and they were wearing these armors, and wouldn't the armors get cold, and wouldn't the person wearing that armor would feel cold? Because even though in the book they said that the characters were wearing blankets or heavy cloaks around themselves, but still it's not gonna stop the cold, isn't? Sergeant Matheson blew on his hands to warm them up. The air was biting cold, and even as he did so, his frozen breath wafted back in his face, obscuring his vision for a moment. He was on the battlements of Baden Keep, and from his current position he could see, far off to the west, a column of smoke. Then we have a next passage over here. Gerald halted his horse and watched as his detachment filed past. Over their armor they wore cloaks and blankets to stave off the cold. The sun reflecting off the wintry landscape was practically blinding, causing many of the men to shield their eyes. With the snow too deep in parts, he had to send William Blackwood ahead with some horsemen to make a path. They're making the way more accessible for the foot soldiers following them. He knew the best way to fight the cold was to keep them moving. Besides, there'd be no time to stop and eat anyways. They must make the river before the raiders arrived. I have some winter/Christmas book recommendations to share with you. I read all of these books and loved them. Some of them I've not exactly loved, but that's completely fine. And the reason why I've added them is because of their very prominent winter themes in the book or Christmas celebration in the book. But sometimes it doesn't really have to be a winter book, it just has to be like really wholesome or heartwarming. We have Grimm fairy tales by the Grimm brothers. Then we have The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, my favorite book of all time. I don't have any other favorite book other than this. Then we have King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table by Roger Lenslin Green. Just the themes of chivalry and faith and bravery just feel so much like, well, not exactly Christmas or winter, but I just think it's perfect to read during this time. Then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I do consider this an autumn book as well, but I think that because of some of the scenes in the book, like Richard almost dying of hypothermia, I feel like that it's a winter book as well. Then we have The Winter House by, oh my goodness, I don't remember the name of the author. Okay, this is embarrassing. I think his name is Ben Gutterson. Then we have The Snow Queen by Hans Andersen. It's like part of the collection of fairy tales, but this is like very prominent winter one. Then we have White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I feel like that every single Dostoevsky book is a winter book, but since this is the only one I've read, I'm gonna recommend this one. The Sisyphid Mystery by Agatha Christie. Agatha, Agatha Christie has written many winter books, but I've only read this one, so that is the one I can recommend. The Night Raven by, I forgot the name of this person as well. What is with me forgetting the author names? I'm so sorry. Then we have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Bramley Hedge, The Winter Story. I feel like that the Bramley Hedge complete stories uh, are really great to read. Like you can read all of the stories, although some of them are like separated by seasons. We have the spring story, we have summer story, autumn story, but I feel like you can read all of them in during this season, I feel like. Then we have The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. I did not like this book at all. It was just not for me, but I feel like that other people can like this book, so I'm recommending it. Then we have The Snow Child by Hugh and Ivy. Fantastic novel. I read it in 3 days. Then we have Antarctica by Claire Keegan. It's a collection of short stories, and I think they're pretty good as well. The Winter Ghost and The Mistletoe Bride and Other Haunting Tales by Kate Moose. Both of them are perfect for winter. Uh, the Kate, uh, The Winter Ghost is a novel, but The Mistletoe Bride and Other Tales are a compendium of short stories. Then we had Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. The Woods at Midwinter by Susanna Clarke, the only Susanna Clarke book I've ever read. Then we have Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. Very heartwarming book. Also quite hilarious if you ask me. The Poet's Dog by, I forgot the name of this one as well. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll put a picture of the book as well so you can see the authors as well. I'm so sorry. Then we have the Christmas books. We have A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This cannot be a winter recommendation part if there is no Christmas Carol. Then we have The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I feel like that the rest of the books don't really have a lot of Christmas themes in it, but this one has, so I'm just gonna add this one. Plus, this one is my favorite in the whole series. Like, this one I consider the best one, I feel like. Then we have three different um, Hans Andersen's fairy tales. We had the Fir Tree. The Fir Tree? Is that what you pronounce? This is how you pronounce it? I don't really know. Then we have The Little Match Girl and The Snowman. Then we have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I know that this book is set over several seasons. It isn't just like one season, but I still feel like that this is a predominantly Christmas book. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. It's set during Christmas, so I think it's a great book to read. The next book is going to be a bit of a weird recommendation, but I feel like that Harry Potter, the Philosopher's Stone, the first one, only the first one, by J.K. Rowling, can be a great Christmas book as well. Like, not entirely a Christmas book, but the way Christmas is celebrated, and we also get to see that it's Harry's first Christmas, that he gets gifts, he's getting to celebrate it happily. I feel like that really means a lot. So I feel like that's a great Christmas book as well. Not entirely a Christmas book, but like I said, that one portion, I really enjoyed that, so I'm recommending it. Then we have Village Christmas by Miss Reed. It's a very slim book, easy to read, and I feel like that the part where we discuss about the part where the two main characters are preparing for Christmas, the Christmas dinner, Christmas church, and all of that is just so relatable because this happens every year with me as well. We are so busy throughout the Christmas season. Then we have Nutcracker by E.T. Hoffman. I have two Nutcrackers, so that's kind of an indication that I love Nutcrackers. And this story is really good as well. There's another one by Alexander Dumas, but I have not read that yet. Then we have A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote, and the last but not the least, we have a book for all the Christian people out there. So if any of my viewers are Christian, I would highly recommend that you read the Gospel of Luke, or the Gospel according to Luke, from the Bible, because it has 24 chapters, and since we are in the month of Advent, I think you can read like one chapter every day till you reach chapter 24, and that way it would be kind of like a Advent calendar where you get to read one chapter every day. And this is a great way for you to read your Bible as well. So if you're someone who struggles reading the Bible every day, and it happens, it's completely normal. It happens with me as well. I'm not a perfect Christian, and it happens that we sometimes miss reading the Bible. So I think this is a great way to read your Bible every day. It will motivate you to read one chapter every day, and you also get to know the story of the birth of Jesus, and then and all his acts and works. So those are all the recommendations I have for you. At first, I wasn't about to put this portion in this video because, there are quite a lot of books, but I know I will not make a separate video sharing all these books with you. So I just thought might as well add them over here. And I'm sorry I didn't really gave any, you can say, but again, and I'm sorry that I didn't give you any explanation or summary of the books, but I'm quite certain that uh, this the winter covers or the titles of the books might entice you, and you might search it yourself. So we have reached the end of the video, and I'm just going to give you an overview as to what I managed to read this week. So first, of course, I read all those 5 Dead Note volumes that I managed to read in one day, from volume 8 till volume 12. I think I did a pretty good job, if you ask me. And then I, of course, finished reading The Wind in... Oh, sorry, not The Wind. The Willows in Winter by William Horwood. This was a fantastic book. I enjoyed myself. And, of course, I read River... Not River. What am I saying? The Battle at the River by Paul J. Bennett, which is a short story set in the same world as the Heir to the Crown series. And it's kind of, I don't know if you can call that a prequel because it is not written that it's a prequel. It just says it's a short story. So me saying that it's a prequel is kind of wrong, if you ask me. But anyway, and of course, I did not manage to read The Goldfinch. I didn't even started reading that. And of course, I said that I'll read, what is that book called? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I didn't brought it over here with me, so I'm not gonna get up because I'm lazy. I'll just talk about it. I'll put a picture for you, okay? So Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I started reading it, but I didn't read anything today. So that book, I only read like 2 pages of the first chapter, and that's it. That's what I read this week. So thank you so much for watching this video. This book is